Hi, everybody. Welcome to Markets in 2 Minutes for this edition in March. I know that we've had a lot going on over the last couple of weeks, and it's been a very eventful, action-packed market environment, economic environment, and then obviously, with respect to geopolitical risk that's going on out there. One of the things that we wanted to talk about is something that we haven't spent a tremendous amount of time on, which is commodity markets. So as you look at this chart here, what you'll see is just 1 week changes for the Bloomberg Commodity Index. And what we saw at the beginning of March and the tail end of February was that we just had the biggest 1 week change in history. So that meant that commodity prices were appreciating at the fastest rate that we've ever seen in a 1 week period. And we obviously know that some of this stems from what's happening in Eastern Europe with respect to Russia and Ukraine. And then obviously there's a tremendous amount of demand for things such as crude oil and any number of commodity contracts. What we want to point out, though, is that, as we step back and try to think about where things are and where they might be going, these two items that you're going to see here are the futures curves for wheat as well as oil. So what this means is that you can buy or lock in prices at a future date. That could be 2, 3, 6, 12 months from now. And what both of those markets show us is that prices are going lower, right? So, at least as the market views it right now, prices are very high for both of these commodity contracts, and these are fairly integral, important ones. But over the next 6 months, those prices should actually be coming down. And we've actually seen that happen subsequent to that very large 1 week move that we saw at the beginning of March. The one thing that we wanted to really emphasize and point out is that as you look at contracts like wheat, Russia and Ukraine supply about 30% of the world's wheat. Most of that has already been planted in a place like Ukraine because they produce something called the winter wheat contract. So that wheat is already planted, it's growing. There's still the possibility that could certainly come out of the ground, be processed and shipped to the places that it needs to go. But I think the really important part to understand here is that commodity prices have moved higher. Market is still telling us that over the intermediate term, call it 6 to 12 months, those prices will actually be, decelerating and coming back down. So while we saw, on that prior slide that there was a very big substantial move in the last several weeks, the market is still telling us that, by all indications, by all accounts, those numbers will be coming down. And so this is certainly something we'll pay a lot of attention to, as I know it impacts everybody both economically, but it also has a very big impact on financial markets. So this is something we'll certainly be paying a great deal of attention to as we step forward. So everybody, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions, please reach out to us.